Did you know that a part of you may have existed 20 or even 40 years before you were born? It sounds strange, maybe even a little unbelievable, and yet, it's true. When your mother was still a tiny fetus in her mother's womb, your grandmother's womb, the egg cells in your mother's ovaries had already formed. A fetus is a developing baby before birth. And an egg cell is one of the most important pieces of the biological puzzle from which new life can emerge. One of those cells, many years later, perhaps after 20 years, and sometimes even after 40, became the beginning of you at the moment of fertilization, the person we see today. So while your mother was still in her mother's womb, she already carried a tiny part of what would eventually become you. Of course, that doesn't mean you already existed as a complete person. Your father's DNA was not yet involved, there was no embryo, there was no human being, but half of the biological puzzle from which you could later develop was already there. The very idea that a tiny part of you may have been present when your mother was still in her mother's womb is truly astonishing. Most people think their story begins on the day they are born or at the moment of conception. But suddenly, it turns out that the body carries a story much older than we are. Interestingly, scientists also study what is known as transgenerational inheritance, the influence of one generation's experiences on the generations that follow. For example, some studies have linked a grandmother's smoking during pregnancy to a higher risk of asthma in her grandchildren. That's really something to think about. So by taking care of ourselves, could we be influencing not only our children, but someday even the health of their children? It seems that the answer is yes.